Hello everyone and welcome back to Football Forecast, and today's we're going for my Europa League predictions for Matchday 7. I'm not going to go through every prediction, I'm just going to go for the ones I sort of want to talk about, and that's going to include all the British teams because I know more about them, and then some other games which I thought were interesting to talk about. But anyway, let's start off with the first game, which is between Celtic and Bologna. Celtic are away for this game. This is going to be a difficult game for Celtic, no doubt. They do look a lot better with getting rid of Wilfred Nancy, and under Martin O'Neill, they've been a lot better as a side, and they've won their last three on the bounce. So I think there was a bit of belief going into this game away in Bologna. Bologna are currently 8th place in Serie A and 13th place in the Champions League. Celtic are 24th. I'm not really talking about that because Wilfred Nancy was in charge for some of those games. And Celtic overall look like a way better side under Martin O'Neill before Wilfred Nancy was in charge. Despite this though, I am still going to go with the Bologna win. I think it's going to be too difficult for Celtic to deal with. And I'm going to go with a 2-1 win for Bologna. I think maybe if this was at Celtic Park, maybe then I'd give Celtic something for this game. So then we've probably got my favourite game of this match day, and maybe my favourite game of the whole of the Europa League, and that is Fenerbahce hosting Aston Villa. This is a proper tie, and the sort of ties you look forward to. And Fenerbahce have some quality in their side. They have the likes of Edison, they have the likes of Skriniar, Matteo Guendouzi. They potentially have N'Golo Kante. There's been some rumours that he might be off to Fenerbahce. We'll see if that happens before this game. They've got Anderson Talisca. Fenerbahce also have the former player Marco Asensio in their sides. They would have had John Duran, but he is suspended for this game. Looking at Aston Villa, the problem for Villa is in that midfield with Onana and Kamara being out and potentially John McGinn. They were really poor in the game against Everton, one of the worst performances for Villa of the season, and definitely into their last sort of 20 games they have played. And I think this is going to be a really difficult game. They're going to have to be spot on, I think, in this game away at Fenerbahce. And they're going to have to manage this game really well. Something that they should be good at doing under Unai Emery. And they actually did it really well in the final game earlier in the season. My concern is probably that midfield for Villa. I do think Villa will win this game against Fenerbahce as long as they go full strength. They may decide to rest in this game a couple of players because of the lack of depth they have right now and the fact they should still qualify for the Europa League even if they lose this game. But I am going to back the Villa win. Unai Emery is a European specialist, and I think Villa are going to win 2-1. So then we're on to Victoria Pleasant at home to Porto. And one of the major reasons why I wanted to talk about this game is because of how good Porto have been in the Portuguese league so far this season. They have been so good. In fact, they've only dropped 2 points so far this season out of the 18 games they have played. And they're actually only 8th in the Europa League table, probably because they've been taking the league a bit more seriously, so prioritising the league. But surely for this game, they'll be able to prioritise the Europa League because they're so far clear in the Portuguese league. They're going up against a Victoria Pleasant side who are currently 14th in the Europa League, and they're currently 4th in the Czechia League. This should be a simple away win for Porto. They should have too much quality, and I do expect they will get the job done in this game. I'm going to go with a 3-1 win for Porto. So then we're on to Young Boys hosting Lyon, and the major reason why I talk about this game is because Lyon are currently 1st in the Europa League and they're 4th in the French League. So this should be a simple game for them against Young Boys, and I'm expecting it to go that way. And they should have too much quality for this Young Boys side. They've got the likes of Tyler Morton. They've got Endrick. Endrick is on loan from Real Madrid, so it'll be interesting to see how it performs in his loan spell. And they've won their last 5 games in all competitions. So for that reason, I'm going to go with a 3-0 win for Lyon. Young Boys are actually struggling in the Swiss league right now, so this should be a simple win. So then we're on to Braga at home to Nottingham Forest. And Nottingham Forest so far this season haven't been great in the Premier League. They are currently in 17th place. They should still stay up reasonably comfortably because I don't think West Ham are good enough to compete with a side like Forest. For Braga, Braga's form recently hasn't been great, but they are 7th place in the Europa League and they look like a side that may be able to get in the top 8. I am though going to go with an away win for Forest. I think this could be reasonably difficult still despite me predicting this. I'm going to go with a Sean Dyche special, a 1-0 away win for Forest. So then we're on to Celta Vigo, who are 7th place in La Liga at home to Lille, and Lille are currently 5th place in Liga. And this is going to be quite a difficult game to predict. This is 19th and 20th in the Europa League as well. I think somewhere where I can sort of look at and say maybe that makes a side favourite is, first of all, Celta Vigo are the home side for this game. And Lille currently have quite a few injuries, and their form recently hasn't been great, and they've lost their last 3 games. One of those games was against PSG, but then they also lost to Lyon and Stade de Rennes. For this game, I think I'm going to go over a 2-0 win for Celta Vigo. Celta Vigo recently haven't conceded too many goals and have scored a reasonable amount of goals. So then we're on to Rangers at home to Ludogorets, and Rangers are basically out of the Europa League. I don't actually think it's possible for them to qualify, and that's unfortunate considering the fact that they've actually been really good in the Scottish Premiership recently. So I actually think Rangers may decide to rest in this game against Ludogorets. I still, though, think they may actually have enough quality to get the job done despite deciding to rest, and they still may go with the stronger side, but I wouldn't see a reason to do this considering how far they are behind the rest in the Europa League. And look, maybe if the board wasn't stupid and appointed Russell Martin, who's an absolutely terrible manager, then maybe they could have qualified for the Europa League as well as currently winning the Scottish Premier League. For this game, I'm going to go for a 2-1 win for Rangers against Ludogorets. Realistically, it doesn't really matter. So finally, we're ending with Roma at home to Stuttgart. I mean, this is quite a difficult game to predict because of how even these two sides are. We've got 9th and 10th place in the Europa League, and Roma are currently 4th place in Serie A, while Stuttgart are 4th place in the Bundesliga. The form would favour Stuttgart going into this game, but I would say Serie A is a lot more competitive of a league, as well as just Roma are at home for this game. So I almost think that makes the two sides to the even. Going into this game, I think a draw may be good enough, plus a win in their last game to put both of these sides through. So I think we may see a rather defensive mindset from both sides. But at the same time, they may have to win both games to get into the top 8 of the Europa League. I think for this game, I am going to go with a draw because I think they're quite evenly matched. I'm going to go with a 1-1 draw between Roma and Stuttgart. Let me know your thoughts on my Europa League predictions. If you enjoyed this video, there are some Champions League predictions already out on the channel, and there's going to be sort of a European review coming out in a couple of days after the Europa League and the Champions League fixtures have finished. If you enjoyed this, it'd be great if you subscribe to the channel as well as liking the video.